Hello everyone, welcome back to Shasha Voyage. I am Shasha. Just a reminder, everyone, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to avoid missing our latest videos. The Nobel Prize season, every October, is always one of the most anticipated moments in the world. But did you know, behind this award filled with glory and wisdom lies a wealth of unexpected and anecdotal stories. Today let us take a look at some less glamorous, even somewhat outlandish, Nobel Prize stories. First story. Einstein won the prize, but not for his theory of relativity. In 1919, when he signed his divorce papers with his first wife, Mileva Marie Curie, he promised to give his entire prize money to her if he ever won a Nobel Prize. Although he hadn't yet received the award, he immediately fulfilled his promise after winning it in 1921, transferring the entire prize money to Mileva. This sum provided a stable living for Mileva and their children. When it comes to the Nobel Prize in physics, many people assume Einstein won for his theory of relativity, right? Wrong. In 1921, he actually won for the photoelectric effect. The judges at the time considered relativity too complex and unproven, so they hesitated to give him this reason. Einstein later quipped, "It seems they have not figured out relativity yet." Second story. The legend of jealousy between the Nobel Prize and the mathematics prize. There is a dramatic story circulating about why the Nobel Prize did not establish a mathematics prize. Alfred Nobel allegedly refused to establish a mathematics prize out of jealousy because his wife was having an affair with a mathematician. However, this is pure nonsense. In fact, Nobel never married, which dispels the myth of a mathematician rival. A more convincing explanation for his failure to establish a mathematics prize is that he believed mathematics was a theoretical field, unable to directly benefit humanity like physics and chemistry. The third story. Gender shadows in the halls of science. Lisa Meitner played an invaluable role in the discovery of nuclear fission. However, the 1944 Nobel Prize went only to chemist Otto Hahn. Despite being nominated 48 times, Meitner never won a Nobel Prize. Jocelyn Bell Bernal, another female scientist, played a key role in the discovery of pulsars, but the 1974 Nobel Prize in Physics ultimately went to her mentor, Anthony Hewish. The experiences of these two outstanding women epitomize the long-standing structural discrimination faced by women in science. The fourth story. The hardcore literary man who refused the Nobel Prize. French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre won the 1964 Nobel Prize in Literature, but refused to accept it, becoming the first laureate to actively say no. Why? Sartre believed that accepting the prize would institutionalize him and undermine his liberal philosophical stance. He even wrote to the committee in advance requesting that he not be nominated, but the Swedes awarded him anyway. Even more amusing, Sartre later confessed that he was actually short of money, and the prize money was quite tempting, but he reluctantly declined it out of principle. The fifth story. The Curie family's award dynasty. Marie Curie was the first woman in history to win a Nobel Prize, the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes, and the only person to win a Nobel Prize in 2 scientific fields. She won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903 and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1911. Her husband, Pierre Curie, was her co-recipient of the Nobel Prize in Physics. But even more interesting is that her family was like a relay race. Daughter Irene Joliot-Curie also won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1935. With a total of 5 Nobel Prizes, the family is truly a family of awards. Also, Marie Curie's lab notebooks still emit radiation. You need to wear protective clothing to see them. The sixth story. The most controversial Peace Prize. The 1973 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger for his promotion of the Vietnam Peace Agreement. But the war was not over at the time. One judge was so angry that he resigned, and the Vietnamese representative refused to attend the ceremony to accept the award. This may be the most controversial Peace Prize in history. The seventh story. The Oversleeping winner. André Geim, the 2010 Nobel Prize winner in physics, is a legendary figure. He won the prize for his research on graphene. But earlier he had levitated frogs using magnetic fields. winning the IG Nobel Prize, becoming the only Nobel laureate to have ever won both. Even more interesting, Guan Yin overslept on the day he received the prize and missed the call from the Swedish Academy. He woke up to find out he had won the Nobel Prize. He later quipped, "I thought it was a scam call," and almost hung up. The 8th story. The bizarre menu at the Nobel Prize banquet. The Nobel Prize banquet is a grand occasion, but the menu can sometimes be quite bizarre. For example, the 1991 dinner featured venison jelly with sorrel sauce, and the 2008 edition featured Arctic cod with mustard foam. Even more outrageous, the 2011 dessert was liquid nitro, gem-frozen strawberries, which was still emitting a white mist when served, like something out of a science fiction movie. These menus are designed by top chefs, yet winners often complain that they cannot understand or eat them. So after hearing all these stories, don't you feel the Nobel Prize is surprisingly human? It is not just about science or literature. It is a mirror reflecting ambition, irony, and sometimes even comedy. If you enjoy these hidden stories behind the headlines, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Shasha Voyage. See you in the next episode.